Have you ever wondered what makes NBA champions truly unstoppable? I mean, it's not just the superstars who grab all the headlines, right? I really do think that it's the role players who also chip in and are very important from making a good team a championship caliber one. Today, we're going to be diving into why role players are the unsung hero of NBA championship teams and what teams have looked like as well whenever they don't have these role players. And if you guys like today's video, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. I really do appreciate it. And make sure you guys subscribe to know more about everything NBA and stay in the know about that. And let's go ahead and dig into today's video. Alright, so before we get into too deep of a dive here into the video, let's just go ahead and start by defining what a role player is. And really, these are the players who aren't tasked with carrying the scoring load or running the offense, really. Instead, these guys are just people that excel in specific areas, whether it's defense, three-point shooting, rebounding, or leadership, or honestly a combination of two of any of those. They might not get the same spotlight as stars, but they really do bring unique skills that make teams whole. And the best part is that role players know their roles and execute it to perfection. Now, let's go ahead and bring out some of these role players that we've seen in the past, right? Bruce Bowen, defensive maestro for the Spurs, known for locking down superstars like Kobe Bryant. Brown's offensive contributions, just as shooting 40% from three in the 2003 championship, they complemented his elite defense, and that's really what we see more with NBA players nowadays, really 3-and-D type wing players. That's really good. Someone else that comes to mind was Robert Horry, right? Known as Big Shot Rob. He was the definition of clutch. Over his career, he hit countless game winners, and really one of the most iconic shots was in Game 4 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals. His playoff averages might not stand out, right? Obviously only averaging around 8 points per game, but really his ability to deliver in crucial moments was very unmatched, and I believe he has 7 championship rings to go along to prove that, right? Tony Kukoc, someone else, brought versatility to the legendary Chicago Bulls. In the 95-96 season, he averaged 13.1 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game. This really showcased his ability to fill multiple roles alongside MJ and Scottie Pippen, who were already the top 2 guys, right? Someone else who really is kind of like the modern 6 man that everyone loves, Lou Will, right? He averaged 22.6 points per game off the bench in 2017-18 when he was an old man, and he was able to win 6 man of the year. I mean, if you don't want that on your team, there's something wrong with you for sure. Someone else, a big one, Andre Iguodala, won the Finals MVP in 2015. Obviously, he was known primarily for his defense on LeBron James that final series, holding him to 38.1% shooting when he was guarded by him. Offensively, he contributed 16.3 points per game in the finals while playing a key leadership role. So definitely a more elevated role player, right? But still role player. 2 guys on the Rockets that I really enjoyed watching, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, 2 3-and-D guys. Well, Eric Gordon a little bit less on the defense, but Trevor Ariza, big defensive guy, right? Gordon averaged 18 points per game in the 2017 playoffs. Trevor Ariza was also a big player here. He shot 36.8% from 3 in the 2018 playoffs, something that was really big for them, right? Looking at the Detroit Pistons 2004 championship team, this really was a team that thrived on role players, right? You had Tayshaun Prince, who had an iconic chase down block on Reggie Miller in the Eastern Conference Finals. He averaged 10.3 points and 4.2 rebounds per game. Last thing I want to talk about here, Miami Heat's 2013 championship team. You got Shane Battier, Ray Allen. Battier's defense was amazing, and he shot 57.7% from deep in the finals. And Ray Allen, of course, Game 6 buzzer beater. That really just solidified their legacy. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and dive into some teams that didn't have any depth and what their struggles were, right? First, let's go ahead and talk about the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that was very recent, right? Despite having LeBron James basically in his peak form, the team lacked consistent contributions from other role players, right? J.R. Smith, obviously, in Game 1 of the NBA Finals with his infamous blunder, and I mean, that really just highlighted the inconsistency of Cleveland's supporting cast, right? The Cavs were swept by the Warriors, who had a deep bench featuring players like Andre Iguodala, who we just talked about, and Sean Livingston, and I mean, if the Cavs literally just had like 3 more solid role players, they probably would have been able to at least make it a competition with the Warriors, right? 2021 Brooklyn Nets, they had a star trio of KD, Kyrie, James Harden. The Nets were favored to win it all easily, right? However, injuries to Irving and Harden exposed their lack of depth. Players like Joe Harris, who just shot 32.1% from 3 in the conference semifinals, struggled while the stars were sidelined, and that's really why they lost. Obviously, against the Bucks, they were just like a little bit away, right? Obviously, Kevin Durant from missing that shot, or he made the shot, right? But just from being up behind that 3-point line. But still, that depth really did kill them. 2007 Dallas Mavericks, after an incredible 67 win season led by Dirk Nowitzki, they fell short in the playoffs. With limited contributions and their lack of role players being able to step up in the biggest moments, this really led to a shocking first-round exit against the Golden State Warriors. Now let's go ahead and look at the evolution of these role players, right? Role players have been around since the NBA's early days, but they've been evolved, obviously, right? In the past, role players were often rebounding specialists or enforcers. Think of Bill Russell's teammate, someone Satch Sanders, who I just learned his name today, so I don't expect a lot of you guys to know him, but he really thrived in his niche role to help the Celtics dominate. And right now in the modern NBA, players are more versatile. The rise of three-point shooting and positionless basketball has made it in adaptability a key trait, right? Someone like Bruce Bowen, for example, his ability to defend multiple positions and hit corner threes was well ahead of his time. Or someone like Tony Kukoc, whose skill set as a playmaking forward would have been more coveted in today's game. But not only are role players really keen on, their improvement, right? I think great coaching can really make or break a role player's career. Coaches who understand how to maximize a player's strengths and hide their weaknesses are the ones who get the best out of the role players. Someone who comes to mind first, Greg Popovich, right? And the Spurs, obviously, they were a masterclass at this. Popovich was able to transform players like Tiago Splitter, Bruce Bowen, and Danny Green into essential pieces of championship teams, right? Especially when they won in the 2013 finals. Phil Jackson, someone else, used the triangle offense to perfection, right? He empowered people like Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr to thrive alongside Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. In fact, Kerr famously hit the championship clinching shot in Game 6 of the 1997 finals. And looking now, Steve Kerr as a coach has unlocked Andre Iguodala by allowing him to lead the Warriors' second unit back in the 2010s when they were so dominant to take on defensive assignments that freed up Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So how do we even get role players in the first place? The idea stems from basketball's team-oriented nature. No matter how great an individual player is, they can't win alone. Role players emerge as specialists who could fill the gaps left by stars that they couldn't do themselves, right? In the early days, this might have been big men who could grab rebounds or guards who were lockdown defenders, but as the game has evolved, so did roles, as we've talked about before. Today, role players are expected to shoot, switch on defense, and sometimes even handle the ball, skills that really accept the modern game's demand. And I do think that those earlier specialties are still needed, like an enforcer, right? Obviously, someone like Draymond Green is very important on a team, and that's how you win championships. So I think that that's something that is still needed, but right now, more three-point shooting is needed due to the game's evolution. All right, and here's the bottom line, right? Superstars might win games, but role players honestly win championships. I mean, really think about it, right? When Miami Heat were on the championship runs, it wasn't really just LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Guys like Shane Battier, Ray Allen, two people we just talked about before, they had very massive roles on these teams, right? In Golden State's dynasty, we talked about Andre Iguodala already. Sean Livingston was big. Even Kevon Looney, he provided the glue that helped everything together, right? Looney, for example, his rebound in the 2022 playoffs was amazing, right? He grabbed 22 boards in a pivotal Game 6 against the Grizzlies, which is a very prime example here. All right, guys, and role players might not get the same recognition as stars, but their value to contending team is basically the same. It's really immeasurable. They're the ones who are making the hustle plays, hitting the clutch shots, and doing the dirty work that doesn't always show up in the box score. So next time you guys watch a game, make sure you guys pay attention to those little guys. They're the secret sauce behind every great team. All right, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to stay in the know about everything NBA like we talked about before. And really, let me know down below in the comments who your favorite role player is of all time. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I really do appreciate you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you guys next week.